Hi, Lois.
Good morning. How are you, Haley?
I'm well. I'm well. How are
Good.
you?
Good. It's August, if you can believe
You-
that.
I don't know about you, but I feel like this August is just so much busier than it's ever been this time of year. Do you feel that way? There's
Absolutely.
a lot going on, a lot going on at ISG, a lot going on in our industry. So it's all good.
It is. It is all good. And the other great thing about August is next month we have our 2025 Women in Digital Awards ceremonies coming up. I
Wow.
know the judges have all of the down-selected women, and so it's an exciting time of year as well for that. So, yeah, a
I know
month
it's
away.
a tough job for our judges, and they take it very, very seriously. Is this our third or fourth annual?
I guess our fourth in the
I think
Americas.
so too.
I
I
think
think
so.
so
It's
too.
amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of that, we have one of our winners from last year, from 2024. So, I think we'll invite Girija on the phone. Girija Venugopal is the Vice President of Business Intelligence and Artificial Intelligence at Comcast. So, thank you for being here and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. This is so great. Thank you, Haley and Lewis. First of all, I'm truly honored to be part of the ISG Women Digital Series. I think you've created a platform for people to come and share their stories. That's great, and each other can get inspired from these conversations. And I've watched some of the previous episodes, pretty power packed. So thank you.
It's
Uh,
such a vibrant community. So, Girija, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So we're going to have a quick conversation. Haley is going to join us, I think, at the end of the show, but maybe we can start off with just a little bit of an introduction of yourself. So I was re-watching your video from last year when you were talking quite a bit around what your journey was in order to get to where you are today, because not only are you in a very important role and a very active role around artificial intelligence and data, but you also had quite a journey to get there. And can you share a little bit about where you came from, what your journey was, and the kind of role that you have today?
Yeah. So today I'm a leader in technology, the latest and greatest, of course, so the AI. And but I didn't always start that way. I didn't start my journey having a clear roadmap, seek out a technology path or anything. A blurb about myself. I grew up in a small place in rural South India. At that time, my biggest goal was simply to get to a top college in a big city, right? So that itself, it may sound simple, but itself was a big battle with the cultural and financial and all those barriers. And many of my friends back then couldn't do that, even if though they were qualified. So I was lucky enough; I got my dream fulfilled. From there, it's an evolution, and it's a lot of struggles too to come to where I am today. My The goals also was evolving for me. First, making it from a small place into a big city. Then it's like you're a fish in a bowl to a fish in the ocean, right? So then making that through, and then making it in the professional world. That would be the next goal, then on building a career from there. So at that time, technology wasn't the focus that I was seeking. But, the field of study that I was in naturally opened up a lot of doors for me in the tech world. And few years into my professional journey, I had moved to US, and at that time, I had to take a career break. I came into this country with a 3-month-old baby, and that
Mm.
called for a break. So which was tough, right? So you're just started few years of working and you're making a career, and then you're taking a break, and in a new country, and you have to start all over, is how it feels like. So my focus was trying to get back into the workforce. So that was not easy, but I made it. And so from then on, I've been building. It's not that, I'm looking at career as like a ladder or anything. It's always like whatever opportunities that came to me, I took it with curiosity, right? So I always love to understand how things work and why it works the way it did. So that kind of slowly gave me technology edge. And then I started becoming technologist slowly, right? So problem solving is the fundamental skill that I had. And over time, then every problem that I faced, technology showed up as the only most important thing that could solve everything, right? So I took every opportunity. I hate to say this, but I will say I'm usually a person who never says no. But to me, I mean, it is controversial, right? So how can we not say no? There's a different way of saying no. There's always something will give, but we will say yes first, right? So I looked, why I say yes is because of all the path and the struggles that I went through. I feel like the saying yes is the opening of an opportunity, right? You say yes, you can do it, and that would be your opportunity to step into something next. So that's how I kind of organically grew, I would say. Technology then became very integral part of my journey, and I truly believe technology can be something that can transform business. So then, my in current role, also in the past roles, I've used technology and successfully launched a lot of innovative, impactful, transformational solutions. So very proud of that. So that's a little bit about my journey into where I am today in technology.
That's an amazing story. And I think we often think that careers should be a linear path, but it sounds like you kind of worked your way. Each step you took, like you said, a ladder, it doesn't necessarily it goes up, but you're determining what your next step is. But I think one of the keys and what you were building during that time from where you came to where you are is building that self-confidence and that self-awareness of what your strengths are, because then as you approach each new opportunity, like you said, to prepare yourself to say yes, there had to have been a sense of confidence and awareness of yourself and what you could do in that space. Is that something that you felt growing over time? And how does someone achieve that they feel that confidence that they can move to the next thing?
Um, I think a lot of help along the way too, I have to say. So there's mentorship plays a huge role in everybody's career, and I'm so lucky to have had several mentors who helped me to see my potential and kind of navigate me in the right path, right? So that is something that I really really have to be very thankful about. But there are instances, like you said, it's not linear, right? But we do move to different roles. So to me, there are a couple of things I can say probably stand out as pivotal points in my career, or like a turning moment, or that just kind of defined how I grew. Clearly, everybody starts, I guess, as individual contributors. Nobody starts as leaders. So I did the same way too. And moving from that to a people leader, that was a very, very, very career changing, made me realize my own potential, made me realize what I enjoy doing, and made me really into the leader that I am today, right? So that was, like all of a sudden, like it's not about the title change. It's not about a promotion. It's not about a role change. This was something else, right? You do your work and you accomplish something, you feel good, you're talking about, you're promoting yourself and things like that, and all of a sudden it's different. The complete shift. It's a shift in mindset, actually. And then it's all about your team. Suddenly it's all about the people that you have, and then it's not about you doing it, it's about getting things done through others. Then like you kind of take that responsibility to nurture and empower someone else, and that became meaningful. And that I started feeling that I'm doing something impactful with my time, and I truly enjoy being a leader. So I'm proud to become a leader that I am today. But so that was one of the moments I realized, leadership role, and I'm like I'm enjoying this, and I'm helping people, and it was not about me. Was a kind of realizing moment for me. It was no more about me. So I was kind of out of the picture, and it is all about someone else, and empowering someone like that is huge, I think.
Yeah, and it's very satisfying as a person, right? As a leader, but it's also incredibly important to really grow your team and to have an impact on your company. Working at Comcast, you're in a pivotal role around data and AI, and there's so much hype around it today. And it's sometimes, what's the best track to go? How do we best utilize it? And to me, just how you said, to help guide a team and help guide a company, to be able to make sure that they're on the right track, doing all that they can. That must be a fairly difficult, way to navigate. And how do you do that? How do you help your team and even the broader Comcast to really understand what the art of the possible is with AI?
um AI is everywhere now, so AI is definitely pivotal in the future of the tech, right? So it's not because it's just a buzzword, or it's not because there's a hype around it, but it has actually become the foundational on how we are reimagining our businesses, right? So if you I can start with a simple example that we can all relate. So a while ago, if you go to Google search, let's say you want to plan a family trip itinerary or something like that, then you would type your search and you get a bunch of links, and then you spend your time, you piece it all together and get your outcome. Now what? Now it generates an AI summary, the day-to-day suggestions, and day by day breakdown, just like that, instantly, right? And that's
Mhm,
just not convenience, and that's evolution. And it's
mhm,
not just Google, it's there in every shopping place you do, a site you go to, Amazon, WhatsApp, social media, you name it, you have it. So basically AI has, what it has done, it's quietly made its way into our daily lives, making it much more easier and smoother and intuitive. So AI is definitely transforming, and if it can transform our personal day-to-day lives this way and makes it easier, we can only imagine what it can do for businesses, right? So we can already see what chat GPTs or the co-pilots are doing at work. Pretty much almost all workspaces, they all use it. And the next thing with the agentic AI, the business transformation will only keep getting better. And you asked about in my role and my company, and that's exactly what my team and I focus on,
mhm,
bringing AI driven intelligence into transformational solutions. And that is so much satisfying work. And we are very, very proud, and we are leaping forward with a lot of um, intentional solutions that we are building with AI, and that's transforming us. It's not also about just automating tasks, right? So digital transformation, AI is just acting as a small catalyst. It's helping organization to move from reactive to proactive. Previously, a data, you have data in a report probably, and now it's driving it through insight, right? So that's the change, and that we have adopted in Comcast, in my organization, and we are able to build transformational solutions to help enable business.
It's amazing what leaps forward we're able to make. I mean, sometimes when you think back, and we've been around for a while, right, to look at what the change has been, and now the change is accelerating and it's exciting.
I do think there's something that people ask all the time. Maybe I'll quote this. I read this in a white paper somewhere a while ago. It stuck with me. People always, when they think about AI, they always ask, first question comes to mind in general is AI is going to replace humans at work. That comes up quite a bit. And it's not. The article I read, it's not my own word, but that stuck with me, and I think we all should remember that as well. It's not AI versus human, it's AI with human, right? And then AI will become magic only when we are thoughtfully applying it and then thoughtfully designing it and using ethics in our design. Then it can transform. Then it truly will become business transformational.
Yes, absolutely. Just hearing you talk, I get energized with what you're doing. But I think about as women, and you were awarded the Women's Advocate Award, and I think your journey that you talked about from coming from a small town in India to where you are. I'm sure you've had many challenges through that path. You talked about mentorship and getting assistance the way you go. And you said in your interview, it's time to pay it forward for someone like yourself, where you've been able to achieve the help and what you've been able to do and inspire others. Do you have, I guess, any recommendations or thoughts for women, especially in this new AI world where, being able to take advantage of what the power of AI can be to make that magic? Do you have any thoughts of what we could do, what women can do if they're earlier in their career? What's your recommendations?
I before even AI, I have a very simple advice, right? So really, just don't fear of anything. Don't be afraid of the change that will hold you back, right? So the change has to happen day to day, and change is the only constant. We hear that all the time, and it is true, right? So don't let that fear of change, stop your journey. So that would be my first simple advice, right? So technology is fast paced, but your ability to learn and adapt and lead, that is what will really get you to a place in this latest world. So you don't need to know anything. Again, AI is new and it's emerging, and it's everybody is learning, so you really don't have to know everything. You don't need to be an expert on day one. What's really important, that I would say, more than knowing the latest and coolest tools, is really knowing how to ask the right questions and where to ask the right questions, challenge the assumptions, and then you connect the dots between the business and the tech, and that will propel you forward, guaranteed. So that is my fundamental advice. Like, you don't lose your curiosity, or always be willing to learn. And sometimes we have to unlearn too. So
Yeah.
we're so used to some things and we have to unlearn, and then that will lead to growth. I repeatedly talk about, find mentors, build your network, and so also don't feel bad about if you're different. Your perspective is actually your power, right? So believe with conviction that you are here for a purpose, then that would really, really move you forward. That's something I can say. Maybe one more thing that actually helped me that I can say is find your voice. So this was it's a personally very fulfilling experience for me. Like I said, my mentors truly helped me. For years I used to be like, okay, in a meeting I will present my content and then that's about it. And I'm like, why should I, like don't get me wrong, I could talk for hours. Please ask the people that know me, they can tell you it's not that I'm afraid to talk or anything,
Mhm.
but it would be like, no, I'm just confined with like what I need to say, what I have to cover, what I have delivered, and like in places. But it was not about that. There is also, you could take this advice early on in career too. Have a perspective. Leadership is truly about influence. And my
Mhm.
mentors actually is the one who steered me in that direction. Once I realized, then I'm participating in strategy and I'm providing my perspectives. I'm, championing something and I'm advocating something that, is the right thing to do. And that really makes, then I'm a voice in a decision making, right? So it is not relevant to me, but my perspective matters. So that was a really, really career changing moment for me, and I would give that as an advice to any woman who wants to, really move up. um, every time I mentor, like I said in my video, that's true statement. Every time I mentor, I sponsor, I pull someone into a conversation so that they're not left out, I always feel like I'm paying it forward, right? And I
Mhm.
ask that every woman do that. So once you have a chance, you have the fundamental duty to do that, to raise other women. So
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I think your the idea about influence, you don't need to be a senior leader, to your point, to have influence. And in fact, being able to, and you don't have to be, the smartest person in the room to have influence, is to question and to see your point of view and be comfortable to bring your point of view forward. That diversity in thought is highly respected and necessary, right? And it's an
yeah,
opportunity for
absolutely.
everybody to take that forward. Well, I have a question for you. As you may know, we every episode we have our prior guest ask a question of a future guest, and our prior guest was Cynthia Fortlage from the UK. And her question for you, and I'm going to read it word for word, and it's a bit of a long one, so I'll get through it, and hopefully we can you'll recall what's all part of it here. How do you work to amplify women's voices and visibility in spaces where they are historically absent, whether that is in leadership rooms, like you just talked about, or in data models? And how do you keep the human story alive, especially when bias, both human and algorithmic, can easily flatten or erase it? Huge question.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Cynthia. By the way, I watched that episode, Power Packed Discussion. And the
Mhm.
first time I heard about the bicycle phase,
Yeah, isn't that
narrative,
interesting?
that was very
Unfortunately.
interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for, sharing something. I learned something that I didn't know before. First, I really need to say this here. I am really, really proud to work in an organization, and I'm privileged. This organization truly and values inclusion, right? So if you are in an environment like that, not always that I was privileged that way. So, but this, right, my current
Mhm.
employer is all about inclusion. And that kind of culture actually naturally makes it easier to stand up for what you believe in, right? And create the space for others to do the same. Even if historically it was not the norm, but now that is becoming a norm here, and I'm very proud of that. To answer Cynthia's question, amplifying women's voices, it starts with being intentional about it. So, in leadership rooms, making it a point to ask who is missing in this conversation, who has not had a chance to speak yet, and then passing to give them that space to share their thoughts. So, that's how it starts. And again, it has to be intentional. And in a day to day, even celebrating a small win of a woman publicly, it matters a lot. um, Advocating for their upcoming, their potential, and proposing them for an upcoming an opportunity, all those small things really builds confidence, even if people don't do it or they don't get it, but it builds women's confidence and open the doors and really shift the perceptions. So and when it comes to really keeping the human story alive, especially in the world of data and AI, I think we have to remember behind every data point, there is a person. So that is the fundamental that everybody has to remember. If we design systems and that reflect humanity, then we have achieved that. That means we have to challenge bias. We have to challenge the stereotype. We have to build transparency and we have to build accountability. Ultimately, I would say listen. It's all about listening. It's acting intentionally, and it's also never forgetting the people who are the heart of the work.
Wise words, and so important these days because data and AI is becoming instrumental in decision making. So when we make those decisions based on the data, we need to be understanding where it came from and question it and challenge it. Absolutely. Well, that was a great answer. So I hope Cynthia is watching. And so now I'm going to ask you for a question that you have for our next guest. So our next guest is, let me find it. Our next guest is Muthu S., who is our ISG Digital Innovator Leader for APAC. And she is the head of AI for Brilio. And we're going to be talking to her in a month's time. We're going to take a week off, but we're going to talk to her in a month's time. Do you have a question for her that you'd like to ask?
Yeah. So I hope, hey, Muthu, I hope this is a good question for you. What's one emerging trend in AI that you believe is being underestimated today? And how should enterprises prepare to harness it responsibly? So I look forward to hearing your answer.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, let's bring Haley back to the stage. And yes, thank you so much. This was such a great interview, right?
And what a great question. That's really great. I hope Muthu's listening. Lois, when we're backstage, we like to jot things down. And I jotted down the phrase, your perspective is your power. I think I might have that made into a t-shirt or coffee mug or something. That is so fantastic. So Girija, thank you for sharing your journey and those wise words. We really appreciate it. And I know our audience really does too. So thanks.
And the idea of paying it forward, and all of us has a role to play to encourage the next set of women and men, right, who are working up through their careers and figuring out and navigating where they want to go. It's something that we can all take a lot of joy from doing. So thank you for inspiring us to do that as well.
Thank you both so much. And again, this has been really great. And I'm really thankful you are having this forum for women, and for everyone tuning in as well. Thank you for listening, and let's keep amplifying voices.
Hear, hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.